Welcome back. In this session, our panel will be on socially handicapped female characters, Yeliz as a deal. For the session, we have one speaker, and she is Menekşe Gökçen. She was born in Izmir in 1991. After graduating from İzmir Hacettepe High School, she had a chance to complete her education at Ege University. She has been studying English language and literature for 4 years at this university. She is keen on studying field of language, and she has a project called Türkçesi Varken in this field. She likes taking part in social responsibility projects such as helping Tema for gun homes or the organizations held by Metropolitan Municipality. She enjoys blending her enthusiasm for literature with her academic life, and she thinks that this symposium will be a great chance for her. So now let's listen to her brief.
Special greetings to you, and I want to thank for the organization that is held by Gökçen University. Today, I'm going to present my paper titled as Transgressing Borders, New Woman Antoinette in My Sargasso under the subject of female madness. Let's start. In the beginning, there was nothing, dust, mystery, and endless time. Out of this mystery, Adam was created in God's own image. Then God divided Adam into two. He created a female out of Adam. Her name was Lilith, Adam's first wife. She wasn't only charming with her long black hair, but also potent and intelligent. She was, after all, Adam's equal, a mirror image of him. All was fine between Adam and Lilith, until the issue of sex came about. Lilith insisted on being on top, a position of superiority. Adam refused to be below his wife. He should have been the superior one, not the female. Lilith was exiled at last as a demonic wife, since this was the law of Adam, law of the male domination. This same law has been running like clockwork for hundreds of years and created the myth of women, everlasting and exemplary story of female frustration. The rewriting of a mad woman in the attic in Bronte's Jane Eyre is also a modern version of myth of Lilith. Rees inWide Sargasso restores Antoinette Causeway in her own land as a fully developed person with a complete name and powerful personality, along with a face, a voice, and a history. Rees, contrary to Bronte, doesn't speak for her. She lets her speak for herself under the name of Antoinette Causeway. Even though in both novels she is portrayed as lunatic, she continues her struggle to be recognized by others. She proves her existence through her mask of madness, and by doing this, she takes her freedom back and especially forces Rochester to bear in his mind that this is the wrangle of new women. Expressly, she transgresses the borders by her act of insanity. In a general sense, madness can be depicted as a situation in which a person is unable to act in a reasonable way. Nevertheless, if this state of mind is examined in the perspective of gender, female madness turns into a female psychology which is conditioned by despotic and patriarchal male culture. In other words, feminine madness is a kind of liberation of female mind from the strict codes of society which are determined by this despotic and patriarchal male culture. Defining women as naturally passive, dependent on men, sexually disinterested, and born to be mothers diminishes women's freedom of expression. Women who rebel against these codes find themselves being diagnosed as mad for displaying unnatural and unwomanly behaviors. What Bertha Mason in Jane Eyre or Antoinette Causeway in My Sargasso encounters with is this. A little from the madness of Lady Macbeth, she comes closer to harmless in the sense of being a kind of a mask, a kind of using reason under the mask of irrationality. According to Chesler, her madness symbolizes, quoted, partial rejection of one sex or stereotype, end quote. Her madness demolishes the stereotypical women figure in Victorian society and demonstrates the decadence of the values. She is disrespectful and disobedient, contrary to the traditional gender roles which cast men, quoted, as rational, strong, protective, and decisive, Women as emotional, weak, nurturing, and submissive, end quote. By using her own doppelganger in the name of insanity, she keeps society away from predicting her next action, and this is what liberates her. In the lines quoted, "This is free country, and I am free women," she obviously declares her independence and transgresses the borders in her expressions too. Moreover, in Rhee's novel, contrary to Bronte's Jane Eyre, she can go wherever she wants in an uncontrolled way. For instance, Antoinette slams the door and leaves her own house without demanding her husband's permission or security. Besides, she is frank and bold enough to put forward her opinions by answering the question of Rochester about her belief in God as, quoted, "It doesn't matter what I believe or you believe, because we can do nothing about it," end quote. This is where she turns the cause of Victorian society upside down, or where she subverts the iron-made belief of Angel in the house. Also, her speech can be perceived as her madness is a so-called one, since she can reason some main concepts of our existence. Quoted, "Female madness can be regarded as being in need of help, and help-seeking behavior is itself part of female conditioning, ideologically the dependent role assigned to the woman. In this sense, we are able to determine two distinctive women. First one is Bertha Mason in Jane Eyre, who is imprisoned by Mr. Rochester as a consequence of being labeled as lunatic. The second one is Antoinette Gosway in Why Circuses See, who is a characterization of Bertha Mason's former life, therefore she is much more liberated and without her shackles. Expressed in a different way, we can affirm that Antoinette's freedom and marginalized lifestyle have been restricted by Mr. Rochester, who is a representation of patriarchy. And this restriction has given birth to Bronte's Bertha Mason, to whom the dependent woman role is assigned. Even Antoinette's conversation with Rochester, quoted, "Bertha is not my name. You are trying to make me into someone else, calling me by another name," end quote. She rejects the shape he tries to impose upon her. Furthermore, Rochester as a man who seeks for finance appears as a colonizer figure. Everybody knows that he has married to Antoinette for her money. By taking all her money, he perceives that he will deactivate Antoinette and will break her waxed wings. However, financial authority is in the hands of Antoinette. Thus, she no longer depends on her husband. By saying, quoted, "I'm no slave like my mother was," end quote, she makes us remember that she breaks the traditional roles of women. Her self-sufficient and rebellious nature caused her to be apprehended as insane. Notwithstanding, even in Jane Eyre, despite being imprisoned, she never tries to control herself due to her mask. She sets fire or threatens the household of Thornfield Hall. She never strings along with others. Instead, she forces them to behave according to her stance. In a way, her mask of madness lets her be the authority. Insanity is a kind of situation that can also be regarded as an uncanny, which is a Freudian term and related to an unfamiliar situation. Certain characters, images, personas, objects that used to be familiar to us can turn into an uncanny as a result of an experience. Nevertheless, quoted, "From the beginning of time, woman has seemed an uncanny being. Men bouncing together invented culture as a defense against female nature," end quote. Because nature's cycles are human cycles. Like nature, women cannot be predicted. Like in virgin forest, there are parts that have not yet been discovered in women. In parallel with this, Bertha's or Antoinette's unpredictable nature liberates her in her behaviors while threatening society and Mr. Rochester. She leaves her own and doesn't like to be interrupted by others, especially by her husband Rochester. When Rochester interferes Antoinette due to her alcoholic attitude, her sharp answer as, quoted, "What right have you to tell me what I am to do?" end quote, totally push Rochester out in taking her decisions. As he cannot control her, he finds a way to cover his inferiority complex by defining her as lunatic. Due to this, he thinks that no one can judge him for his inability to achieve dominance over his wife, who is seen as mad. Antoinette rejects her roles. She doesn't serve to her husband with a soul of Geisha. In Rochester works, quoted, "She had left me thirsty, and all my life would be thirst and longing for what I had lost," unquote. We are able to infer that Antoinette left him thirsty, and by rejecting him, she has stumbled the male authority that resonated. As it is mentioned by Pamela, sex is a struggle for male identity, and by rejecting Rochester, Antoinette indirectly refuses his masculine identity. In that sense, Antoinette or Bertha is not a normal woman who is bound to the codes of society. Rather, she's an abnormal one, along with a complete new woman identity. As a conclusion, Antoinette, or known as Bertha Ingenia, is an upstanding female who can be regarded as new woman. Her sanity is a symbol of her rejection of determined female identity. By standing on the margin, she breaks the chains of her role and puts an end to an everlasting myth of Lilith. In other words, myth of women. Judy raised why Sargasso stirs anew by tripping up the male-dominant society via her mad character, Antoinette. Thank you for your attention.
Thanks for your paper and presentation, Menekşe. Any comments or questions?
Well, you talked about the binary opposition between men and women. Men are superior or wise, rational, but women being emotionally, etc. But when you talked about it, something kind of came into my mind. Against have you heard of Against Sixu, a feminist critic?
No, I haven't.
Okay, and in one of her articles entitled "Sorties Out and Out," she also enumerates these binary positions and proposes a solution against them. The solution is this: writing, in other words, écriture féminine. By writing, the females should raise their voices in the social context. So in this sense, when we consider this situation in terms of the patriarchy, so female writing or écriture féminine is also a sort of madness. Can we say so?
Hysteria, for example.
In theory, yes.
Yes, hysteria was driven because of this. That it takes its roots from this pressure by male domination, because women wanted to write, and in order to press them, in order to eliminate them from writing, also they try to make them seen as mad, and that's why hysteria, for example,
So here we come to this conclusion then. So madness, the term madness, or the attribution of madness to females derives from the male's attitude, male's outlook on the females.
In my opinion.
Or rather their biased point of view against the women. For that reason, in fact, the women are not obvious women. They are also prolific figures, but due to the male prejudiced outlook, they are attributed the essence of madness. In quotation, I make this, but in fact it's not true. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Because throughout the novel also he tries to create a dominance over her, but she wants to rebel against, she wants to rebel because of this. She's called as mad by her husband, and she's seen as well. So I wanted to tell and I wanted to present it. It's not only my opinion, but the book gives such an opinion too, presents an opinion.
Yes. By the way, I want to inform you something about something. I have heard from one of my partners in Ankara University that today the poet laureate is Kerem Dafi. And this is the first time a woman has been attributed this position. Why? Because for a long time she has, as a result, she has deserved to have this position, but due to her allegedly lesbian status, the patriarchal point of view has banned it from, has banned her from taking this position. However, in 2009, if I don't remember falsely, she was given this name, Wallpaper status. I heard this.
Yes, that's true. The first Scottish as well, I could add. Scottish lesbian.
Scottish, so it's interesting.
Sorry.
because the Scottish, because the biased outlook on the Scottish dates back to the medieval period, especially in the King Edward II's period till this time.
Although I may be wrong about that, I don't know if she is the first Scot who's been a laureate. But she is Scottish.
Okay.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions? If there is not, then we will go on with the certificate ceremony.
Thank you all for coming, and dear young scholars, thanks for your brilliant papers. It has been a huge brain work to compose those papers and to get prepared for this conference, for you as speakers and for us as the organizers. As for us, we do not claim that we did flawless job. Please forgive our errors, shortcomings and unintentional mistakes. We'd like to hear your suggestions, criticism and feedback, which will be our guide for the next year's conference. So we'll certainly consider them as amending notes for the upcoming conference. It is indeed so close to us, since we'll begin working on it the moment this conference ends. I hope you find the third undergrad conference on madness enlightening, thought-provoking and challenging. I hope you find answers to your inquiries, but also add new questions, topics and study areas. A new reading list is introduced thanks to your discussions. As for my part, I'm proud of my students who did diligent work, who have always been helpful, problem-solving and mindful individuals. I feel that this is really their conference and I'm here to support them as an academic. They're hardworking, bright students who can transfer what they study as their major to the everyday life matters. I have to thank our acting dean, Professor Dr. Varol Akman, who always encouraged ELIT activities. Thanks to Assistant Professor Dr. Ted Kohn for his collaboration, without which this conference might not be as rich as it is. Thanks to Assistant Professor Dr. Patrick Hart for his very nice opening speech that really prepared us for the conference. He opened the door and we entered into a world of insanity, from literature analysis to film studies, even to Dr. von Hagen's body world. He has been with us throughout the conference, thanks to him. Special thanks to Assistant Professor Dr. Christopher Rivera, who encouraged and motivated his students to take part in this event. He's very cooperative in all events that we work together. Thank you, Christopher. Thanks to Serhat Başak, who took pictures on the first day. You may check them out soon on our webpage. Thanks to Dilara Bozkurt, İlayda Barbaros, Aslı Emekçi, Hazal Yavuz, Defne Saraçoğlu, Hasan Bayram, and Yağmur Fakioğlu for their warm welcome at the registration desk. Thanks to the chairs, who did a great job at the panels. But the greatest gratitude goes to Meryem Tuba Pekşen, who literally managed the whole process and put her heart, soul and mind to the organization. Thank you, Tuba, for being such a hardworking assistant. So hope to see you all next year. And I'd like to present your certificates together with Professor Hart, please, if you like.
Yes, I'd love to. I'm sorry, I'm not dressed for the occasion.
Meryem Tuba Pekşen, please. Kübra, please. Yeliz, Turan. Nilüfer, your turn, please. Esra Akçay, Merve Tutkal, Tevfik Can Babacan, no. Serkan Korkmaz, Burak Şener, Enver Yunusoğlu, Raşit Mutlu. Dilek, Yurt, Derya, Güçlenir, Hande, Dağ. Tarık, Ziyaet Gürcü. Monika. Yağmur Başak, Selim. Taylan Paksoy. Simge Şirin, Menekşe, Gökçen. Irmak Özen'in, Mehmet Koçer. Thank you. Hope to see you.